Blockchain technology may disrupt the financial industry sooner than we think. A project to demonstrate the use of that technology in the syndicated loan market was successful. To hear more, I'm joined by Caitlin Long, president of Symbiot and a former managing director at Morgan Stanley. Nice to see you here.
Nice to see you. Thank you.
So this test was organized by your firm, two others. Credit Suisse was a fourth firm involved. How many banks participated?
14 financial institutions in total.
So a lot of major names, too,
yes,
in terms of
well-known names.
The groups participating. Why did everyone want to get involved in a test like this?
The syndicated loan market is particularly useful for application of blockchain technology because it still operates on fax machines. Literally, 1 million faxes a month come into the big banks. And so digitization was a big part of the strategy, but because the growth of the volume so far outpaced the technology investment, it was an obvious place for the banks to start and an obvious place for the banks to cooperate because it is by definition a network. It's a syndication process.
And how did your company get involved in the technology and testing that we saw?
We worked with Credit Suisse and with our joint venture partner iPrio, which is a market infrastructure player and one of the big administrators in the syndicated loan market.
What did you learn from the test? I'm assuming anything would be better than faxes, but what was it about the technology that made it better?
It automates the process. It does two things. It automates a lot of the manual processes that are subject to error and misdirected payments that people have to track down today. But it also allows all of the participants in that market to share one data source, one magic ledger, and not to have to run their own ledgers and try to reconcile, which is a big part of the operational cost. So it's very clear among the 14 financial institutions that there are big efficiencies and cost savings from this technology.
What's the likelihood we see that technology implemented in a very broad sense for the financial industry for that market soon?
Very high, because anytime you get 14 financial institutions cooperating on something, and it includes both the sell side and the buy side, the effects are far-reaching. This was a ball that Credit Suisse got rolling more than a year ago with its own test, and now it brought in 13 other financial institutions, so it's pretty clear that the market is looking for a better technology solution than what it has today, and this technology solution delivers.
What other inefficiencies are there in the financial industry that blockchain might also help?
Oh gosh, every market is characterized by different financial institutions running their own separate ledger and then having to reconcile. And not every market, of course, still uses fax machines, but every market is characterized by that. And then, of course, there are a lot of processes that smart contracts, which automate things like paying dividends or paying loans, would take care of. Smart contracts are not new, incidentally. If you schedule an online bill payment for a date in the future, when that date comes, the payment is automatically made without your intervention. That's a smart contract. But when you combine smart contracts with this distributed ledger concept where all of the parties are sharing one ledger, that's when you get a lot of automation of processes today that are slow and manual and error prone.
So how are regulators going to look at blockchain technology? Because that will be a hurdle.
It will be, but the regulators are, for the most part, taking a hands-off approach or, in some cases, an encouragement approach. There are operational risks all over Wall Street because of technology that hasn't kept up with the growth of the business over the last decade. And so they are flagging the banks for operational risks related to things like using fax machines. But it's also true that the regulators are actively engaging, but not directing this technology because they want it to evolve and take a wait-and-see approach without standing in the way.
It's really fascinating to watch how it's unfolding. Caitlin Long, thanks for sharing the latest on this adventure that you're on. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
I'm Rhonda Schaffler for The Street.